Distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. My name is Zahra Babar and I work at Georgetown University in Qatar. And it's my great pleasure to welcome you to our panel this afternoon, Afghanistan's Recovery Through Regional Connectivity, the Termez Dialogue. Our focus today is Afghanistan's pivotal place as a natural bridge between Central and South Asia and the opportunities this creates for long-term shared development. History reminds us that lasting progress in this region emerges not from isolated self-interest, but from inclusive cooperation and pragmatic partnerships. Uzbekistan has long emphasized enhanced regional connectivity and Afghanistan's constructive participation as essential foundations for regional stability. In this spirit, the Termez Dialogue was launched in May 2025 in the Uzbek border city of Termez, with the goal of exploring concrete pathways to strengthen economic, cultural, and security ties across the region. To discuss the Termez Dialogue and the future of regional cooperation in Central and South Asia, we are joined this afternoon by an exceptional group of experts whose collective experience and wisdom on Afghanistan and the wider region spans decades. For me to do justice to their full depth of expertise would take at least half of this session, so they will have to forgive me as I introduce them to you very briefly. To my left is His Excellency, Ambassador Ismatulla Irgashev, the special representative of the President of Uzbekistan for Afghanistan, a position he has held since 2017. Ambassador Irgashev has held senior positions in Uzbekistan's foreign ministry, including as the Deputy Foreign Minister and previously as Ambassador to China, Ambassador to South Korea, and Ambassador to Azerbaijan. He has played a critical role in shaping Uzbekistan's regional and Afghanistan policies. Next to His Excellency is Our Excellency Ambassador Faisal Al-Hanzab, the Special Envoy of Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ambassador Faisal has more than 30 years of distinguished diplomatic services, with postings at Qatar's missions in Baku, New York, Geneva, Houston, and Los Angeles, and has deep experience in multilateral diplomacy as well as international organizations. Seated next to the ambassador is our colleague from Afghanistan, Dr. Abdul Al-Qanit, Afghan diplomat and scholar, and currently Director General for the 3rd Political Department at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Kabul, overseeing Afghanistan's regional relationships with China, Russia, Central Asia, and the Caucasus. He is also serving as Acting Director General of the Center for Strategic Studies in Afghanistan. We then have our colleague, Dr. Eldor Aripov, the Director of the Institute for Strategic and International Studies in Uzbekistan. Dr. Aripov previously served senior positions with Uzbekistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, including as Deputy Minister, and has worked extensively on regional security and strategic cooperation in Central Asia. Next to Dr. Aripov is my colleague, Professor Waleed Ziad, who is an Associate Professor of History at Georgetown University in Qatar. Dr. Ziad is a leading historian of religious, economic, and political networks across Pakistan and Central Asia. He has many acclaimed publications, including his book, Hidden Caliphate. And his work draws on extensive multilingual fieldwork spanning over a decade. His research has reshaped our understanding of early modern state formation and mobility across the region. Please join me in welcoming our panelists. Thank you. Our format today is straightforward. I will begin by posing a direct and focused question to each of our panelists, followed by a second round. And if time permits, we will then open up for some audience engagement. I have one comment to make. If you would like to make use of the audio headsets, as one of our speakers, Ambassador Irgashev, will be speaking in Russian. Without further ado, I think I'm going to launch into our conversation by directing our first question to Dr. Aripov. Dr. Aripov, could you please begin by telling us a little about the Termez dialogue itself? In your view, what distinguishes this format and this multilateral platform from other initiatives on Afghanistan?
Thank you. Let me begin by, first of all, expressing deep gratitude to the organizers of this event and, of course, State of Qatar for this great opportunity to hold a special session dedicated to the Termez dialogue. We believe that this focus is extremely important for the region, for the future of connectivity between Central and South Asia. And turning to your question regarding the main mission of Termez dialogue, mission is very clear, to make connectivity with and through Afghanistan practical, sustainable, and beneficial for all countries of Central and South Asia. Actually, it is a key point of the doctrine of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, aimed to build a broader belt of cooperation, stability, and good neighborliness across Central Asia, a belt that naturally includes Afghanistan as an integral part of our shared region. For many years, actually, Afghanistan, unfortunately, was viewed exclusively through the lens of security risks. And even, international engagement was shaped through interventions, military operations. We believe, in Uzbekistan, we believe that different approach is needed. Our position is straightforward. Economic cooperation is the best and the most effective tool to support Afghanistan's development. History shows that, societies become more stable when they are economically integrated, not isolated. Central Asia directly affected by the developments in Afghanistan. But at the same time, we understand very important key point, that without meaningful Afghanistan's participation in economic processes in the region, we will not be able to achieve sustainable stability in the entire region. And you ask what makes actually a Termez dialogue different. There are key factors. One, practical focus. We concentrate on concrete issues of improving custom procedures, improving trade routes, advancing humanitarian logistics. For many years, political tensions actually prevented experts to sit at the same table and openly discuss all challenges, all bottlenecks, develop some solutions. And Termez dialogue actually has created this professional environment for this. The second, regional ownership. There is widely accepted consensus in the region that cooperation with Afghanistan is our own responsibility. And the third is coordination, not fragmentation. There are so many international organizations, regional structures, donors, which operate in Afghanistan. But very often, their efforts run in parallel. So Termez dialogue actually encourages alignment. Connecting these efforts with regional priorities, with practical needs. And again, the most important thing is that, as I mentioned before, real stability comes from the development, not from pressure. That is why Termez dialogue is not only about meeting, it's a philosophy which says that economic cooperation works much better than isolation.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Aripov. I'd like to turn to you now, Dr. Qanit, and if you could just speak a little on how Afghanistan views these regional connectivity issues, and particularly the role that Uzbekistan is playing currently. What specific expectations does Kabul have, and what does it bring to its engagement in the Termez dialogue?
Thank you so much. With the re-establishment of the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, the regional countries have taken two different approaches. One is the approach that is mostly security-centric. It focuses on looking at Afghanistan from the old security prism, to see Afghanistan as threatening the region and look at Afghanistan at resolving this problem and then going forward with it. But the second approach is an economic-centric approach that deals with Afghanistan by integrating Afghanistan into the region, establishing more cooperation, and establishing more, more spaces where Afghanistan can be connected to the region. This second approach, I should say, luckily, is led by Uzbekistan in the region from the day first, since 2021. And looking after 4 years or evaluating these two approaches, one can understand that the approach that Uzbekistan has taken is very successful. We have seen increase in the trade, in transit, in a lot of good engagement, goodwill of both countries, people-to-people contacts, economic relations, and very good political relations. So that has helped Afghanistan to integrate more into the region. And interestingly, one point is very important, that the regional integration approach, or engaging Afghanistan more economically, aligns with the foreign policy principle of the current government of Afghanistan. The current government says that their foreign policy is based on the economic-centric approach, and also looking at the major relations as taking balanced approach. So balance in the economic central approach is the two most important pillars of the foreign policy of the current government. So Uzbekistan's approach, or I would say more generally the Central Asian plus South Caucasus approach to Afghanistan, is a successful model for the region and the region abroad, which we have seen in 4 years that it was successful. It has generated results, tangible results, when we look at trade and many others. So I think this approach, as it aligns with the foreign policy of Afghanistan, there is less obstacles and there is less hurdles to come in the front of it. I think while we're sitting again in evaluating after years, we would see a lot of more engagement. And this approach, of course, Uzbekistan is leading it, and Termez dialogue is a format that has given people an opportunity, and of course all the region, to come together and talk about this regional integration. And in last May, the Deputy Foreign Minister of the Afghan government has participated in the Termez dialogue. Of course, the idea of integrating Afghanistan into the region is there with many countries. But there was lacking of a structural format where countries can sit together to talk about this. And Uzbekistan has led the initiative to establish one, it's called Termez dialogue, for all countries to bring them together to sit and talk about this. But of course, there are challenges in the region as well that one has to take in consideration while discussing the regional integration of Afghanistan with the region, especially discussing Central Asia, South Asia integration.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Qanit. I'm going to turn now to His Excellency Ambassador Irgashev. Ambassador, we've now heard from two of our speakers that they're with a focus of refocusing on sort of economic cooperation and economic questions. And as Dr. Aripov stated, for many years, Afghanistan has been viewed by its neighbors and the wider international community primarily through a security risk lens. But how would you characterize cooperation with Afghan authorities currently on security matters?
Спасибо большое, Захра Ханум. Thank you very much, Zahra Babar. I would like to say that the policy of Uzbekistan towards Afghanistan is built upon the nice expression, as our president said, that you can look at Afghanistan not as a threat, but as an opportunity. That's why we're looking towards Afghanistan as an opportunity, not as a threat. Therefore, today, together with Afghanistan, we're working hard and cooperate very nicely in all spheres, including the security sphere. And this topic is a very complicated one. And I would like to say that development and security are strongly integrated, because without security there is no cooperation. Without cooperation there is no security. That's why we cooperate with Afghanistan today in an array of spheres, including security. And of course, it's one of the main pillars for us. Also, I would like to mention, as Mr. Aripov said, economic cooperation with Afghanistan, economic assistance to Afghanistan will help to stabilize the peace and security in the region, because development of Afghanistan is very important not only for Afghan people, but for the whole region. You know that Uzbekistan has launched several projects, infrastructure projects, including the transit potential of Afghanistan. Afghanistan is occupying a very important place between South and Central Asia. That's why it's very important for it to play a role in the interconnectivity of the region. The building of the railroad that will connect Central Asia with South Asia and will help the Central Asian countries to get access to Indian Ocean ports, and it's a very important project. It will help to play the role in the economic development of Afghanistan and both regions, and also add to peace and security, which is very important for all of us. I don't say that there are no problems in Afghanistan. Of course, these problems are related to security, terroristic organizations. How to solve these issues, if not to cooperate with the current authorities of Afghanistan? That's why we have developed different areas of cooperation. This is the battle with Eldor, and who battles this? It's the current authorities of Afghanistan, but the Khorasan. Also, I would like to mention that today's authorities of Afghanistan do everything possible in order to lift the barriers in front of the economic cooperation. Also, I would like to mention that the trade turnover between our countries has reached more than $1.2 billion, and for the last 9 months, and it's very important. Also, Afghanistan is increasing its export via Uzbek border. Also, it's very important to mention the human capital. We have accepted more than 270 people from Afghanistan. It's very important to mention because recently only a few people managed to get visas to Afghanistan. And you know that Uzbekistan has lifted visa barriers on Afghanistan, several categories of people. Also, we play a role in building a special hub, transit hub. It's cargo hub, and it has become the 8th global hub of the United Nations. Also, what I want to say, it's we are working hard in order to increase the work in this regard. Also, I would like to mention in 2022, the UN has passed a resolution about the regional cooperation with Central and South Asia. It serves as a proof that Uzbekistan's efforts have been accepted and promoted by the international society. Also, I would like to mention that on the 5th of December, in Samarkand, there was a meeting in Samarkand to fight for the drugs. It's called SARIX. And also, representatives of Afghanistan have participated there. Also, Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs has participated in this conference. They expressed that they desire to work together against drug trade in the region. It serves as an impulse for us to work hard together with Afghanistan international cooperation. Thank you very much. Mr. Irgashev, I would like to, yes, сейчас.
Could you share with us broadly Qatar's perspective on these regional connectivity issues and connecting Afghanistan to other parts of Central Asia and South Asia?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'm very glad to be here on the panel. And I want to thank all the participants and the audience who's been here today. So I want to tell you about our unwavering, first of all, commitment and to the situation in Afghanistan. And we believe in the power of connectivity as a foundation, solid foundation for any long-sought prosperity and development in that region. So our involvement is with Afghanistan is long-standing, unwavering, and based on the principle. So now, when it comes to connectivity, there is, too many connectivities. One of the connectivities is Qatar is bridging the gap and linking Afghanistan itself with the international community for being a platform of this UN-led process. So we know the positive impact to keep Afghanistan in this international arena and a global agenda. We want to expedite the process. We want to see our brothers in Afghanistan achieving their aspiration at the end of the day. We believe in the power of connectivity. We believe in the power of economic, and I think such dialogue, like Termez dialogue, is, we in Qatar, we support it, of course. Any dialogue that brings fostering, development and integration between neighboring countries, we're going to stand beside it and support it all the way. I think our brothers in Afghanistan deserve the best, and hoping that Qatar will be always standing. We know the power of this connectivity. We thank this initiative by Uzbekistan and Pakistan and Afghanistan. And we received we were engaged in this dialogue in direct way. And it's receiving our very careful consideration positively. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Ambassador Faisal. I will now move last but certainly not least to my colleague, Professor Waleed Ziad. And I'm going to ask Waleed if you could, as a historian, if you can contextualize some of what we're talking about around the Termez dialogue within broader histories on regional connectivity as being essential for stability across that region, and also about sustainable development in Afghanistan. And since you're my colleague, I get to punish you by adding a second question to your roster. We both work at universities. We're obviously deeply committed to education. And as you know, there have been some challenges regarding female education and the education of girls in Afghanistan. And so what do you think the opportunities are for regional actors to engage with Afghanistan on meaningfully expanding education?
Thank you for that. My job as a historian is to provide a long-term perspective. For the first time in a century and a half, South and Central Asia stand at the cusp of overturning an era of fragmentation that I think I can safely say in this audience was foisted upon this region with the politics of the great game. Today, there are three actors that are shaping a very different future. Uzbekistan, especially under President Mirziyoyev, which has been pursuing a diplomatic policy that has opened up new horizons. Afghanistan, which has repeatedly signaled its desire for pragmatic, especially economic ties, and Qatar, which is now the region's premier diplomatic bridge. As someone who has conducted research now in I think over 150 towns in Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan, I cannot reiterate enough. Central and South Asia are a single connected region. So TAPI, the North-South Corridor, and CASA 1000 are simply modern manifestations of much older realities. My first book, in fact, was dedicated to showing that in the late 19th century, this region, as late as the late 19th century, this region flourished as an intellectual, cultural, and economic space, with Afghanistan as the pivot. I discovered that Kabul scholars taught scholars as far as Xinjiang, Siberia, and the Volga. So President Mirziyoyev is correct. Afghanistan is not marginal. It's inseparable from the region. Now, rebuilding regional connectivity, which our esteemed speakers have spoken of, requires something a little bit more. That is an ideological shift. 4 drastic reframings. First, abandoning the great game mindset. Lord Curzon's formula that Asian states should be too weak to stand alone and too strong to fall under one power, institutionalized instability. Second is recognizing Afghanistan's extraordinary resilience. For 5 decades, it's been on the receiving end of global battles much larger than Afghanistan, compounded by earthquakes, floods, droughts, displacement, energy shortages. So humanitarian relief, of course, must go hand in hand with development and trade. Third, moving beyond treating Afghanistan as a security problem. The 19th century caricature of the warlike Afghan still persists and shapes global narratives. Instead, we should reaffirm Afghanistan as the homeland of Sanai Ghaznavi, Abdullah Ansari, Jalaluddin Balkhi, Rabia Balkhi, Ali Hajveri. Regional cooperation should foreground cultural and academic engagement towards reclaiming Afghanistan's global historical importance. And encouragingly, Kabul is supporting heritage preservation seen in the Sewaki Buddhist Stupa restoration project, and now, I believe, work in Bamyan. Fourth, recognizing Uzbekistan as a bridge, a regional leader with deep cultural and spiritual ties to Afghanistan, the architect of the Tashkent Declaration and the Termez Dialogue. Its leverage, economic stability, non-intervention, and centrality to trans-Asiatic roots. I'm reminded that Zahiruddin Babur, Uzbekistan's native son, was able rapidly to secure Afghanistan, something which later eluded all the modern empires. He restored Kabul to its glory through cultural familiarity, through alliances, diplomatic intelligence, and a shared sense of belonging. And although this may have happened 500 years ago, it is still relevant, and it is still the narrative reframing that we require. Now to your latter question, I'm going to answer this both as a historian, as an educator. The history of modernization teaches us that social reform cannot be done under duress. It's bound to create a counter-reaction. Afghanistan is a country with conservative traditions, and that is simply a reality. So let's pay close attention. The Afghan government stated that they're not opposed to women's education, but require education within cultural norms of segregation. I'm assuming this means separate classes, female staffing, transport security, dress codes. Now, as an educator, I understand this is not ideal, but perhaps this could be approached instead as a logistical issue that is not unsurmountable. So there are 2 points I'll urge you to consider. First, the international community, particularly states with a common cultural heritage, notably Uzbekistan, can help develop the infrastructure for this. And we now, of course, have the technology that does allow for this. History teaches us that as women's education becomes viewed as socially safe in countries, the strictures are bound to be revisited. Second, Afghanistan has done this before. No one today remembers that the two most powerful orthodox religious academic networks in Afghanistan before colonialism were female-led, which is the subject of my upcoming book. And the women who led these networks, Bibi Sayyida of Chamkani and Bibi Amat al-Masuma of Shorbazar, did so within the strict principles of segregation. Thus, Afghanistan's orthodoxy created a space for female academic and religious leadership, and we should perhaps leverage off of that historical tradition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Waleed. Well done. Thank you, Waleed. Dr. Aripov, I'd like to move back to you. Just, briefly, why was Termez selected as the city for, from which you launched this dialogue? What's significant about the location?
Actually, the choice of Termez was strategic and deliberate. There are several key factors. First one, as you mentioned, it is a city which is located right on the border with Afghanistan. Termez is a natural gateway to Central Asia, for Central Asia to South Asia. It is where the main railroad link crosses Amudarya, famous friendship bridge, which connects Uzbekistan and Afghanistan across Amudarya, has operated already for more than 45 years and still remains the single and the most reliable and secure rail corridor into Afghanistan. The second factor is what just Ambassador Irgashev mentioned. Termez hosts major humanitarian facilities. The biggest in the region humanitarian hub operated by World Food Program operates in Termez, and from this hub, food and essential supplies reach millions of Afghans. Third, of course, Termez is, has transformed during recent years into one of the biggest industrial and trade centers. Ambassador Irgashev also mentioned International Trade Center, Iraton, which operates as a free trade zone on the border with Afghanistan, and citizens of Afghanistan and Pakistan could stay visa-free on the territory of this free trade zone, conduct legal business, transparent business. There are a lot of numerous manufacturing workshops, industrial clusters, retail and wholesale markets, educational clusters which operate there. Termez also hosts Afghan Educational Center. More than 800 Afghan trainees already completed educational programs there. 200 Afghan enterprises are working there. And of course, I should mention, deep historical symbolism. I mean, during centuries, Termez stood at the heart of the Silk Road, connecting Central Asia with India, with the Middle East, with China. And I believe that this unique historical identity strengthened the modern vision of reviving Termez as a bridge between two regions.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Qanit, I'll bring it back to you. This was referenced just now when Professor Ziad was speaking, and a couple other speakers have also brought it up, this idea of seeing Afghanistan's regional connectivity as being both to Central Asia and South Asia. But I suppose I'm wondering what you think about the current challenges between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and how does that influence this broader connectivity agenda?
One thing I can say with more confidence, that at least on this panel, everyone agrees that the economic-centric approach is the only positive approach to deal with Afghanistan. This gives us confidence, since this is consensus between officials and academics, that this approach would go forward and this would create positive results. The conflict between Afghanistan and Pakistan is very crucial for the regional integration, since this problem deactivates the southern route of this connectivity. I should say connectivity is, it's half without, Afghanistan being fully connected with Pakistan, and that's why good relations between Afghanistan and Pakistan are very important and they are very significant. And that's why the Afghan government, since day one, has focused more on giving messages that Afghanistan is open to dialogue, it's open to talk, and we have to pursue diplomacy in dialogue to resolve problems. That's what Central Asia is doing. That's what many other countries are doing. That's what, Qatar did, mediated between the movement of Taliban at that time and the United States, ending 20 years of long war. It's longest war in American history. So we can resolve all the problems through dialogues, but we don't have to go to an extent where we cannot, reverse back, because there are a lot of interest lies in the regional integration. The interest of, Afghanistan having positive relations with Pakistan are more than the risk that we have. So I am thinking that it's very important, but what happens recently is that the trade routes have been weaponized, the geography has been weaponized, and the trade routes has been used as political leverage for the problems that are there between the two countries. And this has actually this adds a lot of, the concept of, it threatens the concept of regional integration. It's very important that we have to look at the bigger picture, and Pakistan and Afghanistan has to sit together to resolve this problem, as the region would lose its confidence in the regional connectivity if these problems and crises go to continue for a long time. So I think, I myself personally think this is a short time crisis. The Pakistan-Afghanistan relation would hopefully be on positive track back, and we can fulfill all the projects that are started in Afghanistan, and we can get this opportunity to use Afghanistan's territory not as a threat, but a hub for connecting South Asia and Central Asia.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arif. Your Excellency, Dr. Irgashev, Ambassador Irgashev, to come back to you. We've been focusing on the need for concrete initiatives, and the Termez dialogue seems to represent this. Can you talk us through Uzbekistan's current priorities in developing these transport, trade, and humanitarian projects with Afghanistan, and how far have these efforts progressed to date? And in your view, what contributes to making these cross-border projects with Afghanistan successful in terms of sustainable development in Afghanistan?
Thank you very much. It's a very important and interesting question. We have lots of projects with Afghanistan. I would like to mention from my side that we're looking at Afghanistan as a very important part of Asia, and I have been mentioning about the transit potential of Afghanistan in this regard. But unfortunately, currently it has not been demanded as it should be, and we will put our efforts into realizing this project. Also, we have project for organizing transit between Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Pakistan. We have signed a frame agreement, and we are preparing for that. We're preparing for the building Trans-Afghan Railroad. Also, a common sense tells us that there are economic benefits in this regard. It will affect positively, as my friend and colleague said. Also, I would like to mention that this will add to the possibilities of peaceful solutions to the problems that have temporary character so far. Also, we have launched a very big energy project. We are building the energy lines, Surkhan Pole Khamri, and we extended to Kabul, as our friends from Kabul asked. We have signed all the necessary agreements, and we are doing our best in order to give the future generations with electricity, Termez, Abdul Sharif, and other cities, and Karachi as well. Also, it will give us, Afghanistan, the opportunity to re-export their energy to Pakistan, which also needs the electrical energy very much. Also, we have huge projects in different Afghan mines and fields. I would like to mention here Tuta Maidan, it's field in the north of Afghanistan. We have started working on this project. It will give the Afghan people to get cheap gas, and this gas will be processed and purified. On the border, we have built a very big factory for purification of this gas. I think it was a $2 billion project. Also, we are working hard analogous to the free trade zone in Termez on the border. We are, according to the agreement with our Afghan friends, we are doing industrial zone in Kharaton city on the other side of the bridge. We will build various factories there, also agricultural factories, shoe factories, also the factory that will be producing medical supplements. Also, we have almost reached an agreement with our Afghan friends, and I have discussed it with the vice president of the Afghan president and also with the governor of the Afghan provinces. Afghan women and girls, young women, will be working in these factories. You know that there are many widows in Afghanistan. That's why we would like to provide work opportunities to these women in these factories. So women will be working there in accordance with all the Sharia rules. And with my friend and brother Hanzab, we spoke about the potential cooperation between Qatar and Uzbekistan. And I'm sure, and I'm very thankful to our Qatari brothers with whom we have been working since 2016 on the Afghan issue. And we have always supported each other. So we thank Qatar for their efforts. Also, the last thing I would like to mention, as Mr. Waleed mentioned, about the historic unity of Uzbek and Afghan people. Based on the request from our Afghan friends, we are finishing the building of madrasa. Uzbekistan teachers will work there, and they will teach the students there. Teaching the laws of Islam. We thank the Afghan government for this. We thank them that they gave as a present the white marble, which we used for building the religious complex in Samarkand. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Irgashev. And Your Excellency, getting the last word, since we're running out of time. But I did want to ask you if you could share your thoughts on, Qatar has played such a central role in facilitating discussion and dialogue between the Taliban authorities and the international community. And you have personally been at the heart of many of these efforts. So how would you assess our current moment, the current state of, in terms of international recognition for the government in Afghanistan? What do you see as the key obstacles? Has any momentum been made? And what are the prospects going forward?
Thank you so much for this very important question. Qatar is a center for dialogue always, and beside Afghanistan, we offered our good offices and to facilitate the role of bridging this gap between international community and Afghanistan. So far we had 3 rounds of special envoy meetings, but we always emphasize the need for keeping this engagement, because we don't have any other option than engagement. Engagement, it doesn't mean we tell our colleagues and the friends in the West, it doesn't mean it's a recognition. It means that we are on a roadmap, one platform that is really with good will, one day we will reach comprehensive peace and stability in that region. As I told you, we don't spare any effort in order to keep this momentum and to achieve what we're talking about today, the connectivity. Without reaching, agreement or consensus in this roadmap, we will be far away. And speaking of this connectivity, of course, it needs to address all these holistic binding issues between neighbors. And Qatar is stepping forward to facilitate whatever is binding between Pakistan and Afghanistan in this regard. So that's why we try to keep the channel always open for, and Qatar has become a host, not just for the international community led the process, it's bilaterally even for Afghanistan with other third countries.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Ambassador Faisal. I might just, the last word, since our goal here was to learn more and talk about the Termez dialogue, I'd like to ask just Dr. Aripov, what are the next steps? What's the next step in the process? Is there another meeting planned? What's on the agenda? What do you all see as the process forward for the Termez dialogue?
Sure. I just would like to say that we plan the next meeting of Termez dialogue this May. We're finalizing dates with our partners. This time we would like to focus mostly on trade, humanitarian issues, and climate change. And I would like warmly invite those who is interested to visit Termez, to become a part of Termez dialogue, to share their views, and to explore some new ideas, and of course to experience a unique historical and cultural heritage of Termez and Uzbekistan. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Oh, well, I don't know if we have time for any questions. I think we've run out. We're on minus. I don't know where our organizers are. I'm so sorry. I think we have to end the session because I've been told that we have to be quite strict because there are other conversations. Right? Anyway. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to our insightful speakers for offering their diverse perspectives, and hopefully continue the conversation in other platforms. Thank you.